so.
Okay. I'll call this board meeting to order. All the members are present. If we can just go through and get a roll call of who's here. Sunny?
Here.
Shannon?
Here.
Kara?
Here.
Jennifer?
Here.
Lynn?
Here.
And Jason, myself. And then we have Brad and I think Beth. Is there anyone else? No?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. All right, can we go ahead and stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda by Lynn. Second by Kara.
Okay. All those in favor? Sunny?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Kara?
Aye.
Jennifer? Lynn?
Aye.
Jason? Aye. Okay, the agenda is approved. Any comments or questions from visitors? I think Brad has a phone number for people watching this streaming that might, if they have questions, they can call in.
Yep, at this time, if there are any comments by or requests from the visitors, you can call 320-685-4901. Again, that number is 320-685-4901.
Okay, so we'll pause for just a second, and if we don't have any responses, we'll move on. Okay, well, at this point, we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda by Lynn. Second by Sunny.
Motion by Lynn, second by Sunny. All those in favor? Sunny?
Aye.
Shannon?
Aye.
Kara?
Aye.
Jennifer? Jennifer? Lynn?
Aye.
Jason, aye. Is Jennifer still with us?
I'm here. I was unmuted.
Okay. The consent agenda is approved. Let's see. What's next on the list here. Discussion items. COVID-19 update by Brad.
Sure. So how did we get to where we got to today? Well, that starts all the way back on March 15th when the governor first gave out Executive Order 2002, which he announced at that time that he would be closing schools until 3/27 for the planning purposes of distance learning. If you remember, we had an emergency board meeting on the 15th, that Sunday, after a long day of emergency planning team meeting. We also made a decision at that time that we would not have school. Students did not have school already on the 16th, and we chose not to do a staff planning day that day so that an emergency planning team could meet and then be ready for staff on the 17th. At that time, we decided to not have school for students, and then the planning for our staff all week took place. On 3/24 and 25, we had the personal items pickup, as well as we were providing meals starting 3/18. So we did all that personal item pickup, and then the governor on March 25th, with Executive Order 2019, moved us to distance learning starting on today, our first day. With that order, we needed to move our handout for our technology up. We did that on Friday the 27th. Unfortunately, our hot spots are still not here. I checked today, and they are we were shipped, so we should get them overnight tonight into tomorrow. On Friday, the distance learning plan was finalized, and it was communicated with families via the Skylar, our messenger system. Today was our first day of distance learning. So there's some thank yous that need to be made on for COVID. First of all, the emergency planning team that included our district our district administrative team, our Education Minnesota Ricori representatives, our paras, our liaisons. They all sacrificed a lot of time for this planning. Our second thank you has to go out to our staff. They jumped right in. They got ready for the meals to be planned, prepped, and delivered. We've got our personal items back to our students. We got our technology handed out. We have our child care running. And we also have numerous other things like action packs, free library books, and just a number of other things that have been going on for students. And then a final big thank you to our community of parents and students for their patience. I think today went off pretty well because of all that prior work. I have a couple statistics I want to share with you. As of today, we have served 8,122 meals. That's about 900 meals a day, or about 450 students that are getting free meals. That's incredible. We're averaging about 40 kids a day for childcare. And as of today, we handed out over 230 student devices, minus, of course, the hotspots, which we are going to plan for as soon as we get them. So I'm pretty proud of our staff in accomplishing big feats in such a short time. So that is my COVID-19 update. There are a couple of announcements I do also want to make on that. So just so the public knows that the distance learning will go through April 30th. We will have 2 days to plan for students coming back on May 5th. So we won't have instruction on, I think it's May 1st and May 4th. And then right now the plan will be to have students back on May 5th. Again, those are subject to change, but that's where we are sitting at as of right now. Okay. That's it.
Any questions?
I have one. Is there an update as it relates to community education?
Updates in regards to community education. Jennifer, what specifically are you looking for?
Well, as far as like are any programs running right now?
Okay.
What's the plan for summer programming? Sort of what's the strategy around community education given the restrictions we have of people gathering right now?
Right. So you're right. All of our classes are currently canceled right now. They're not running. We are still planning for the summer and those courses. Of course, community education right now is the largest. The child care piece is the piece that they're doing mostly with Spartan Spot and child care, and that's not currently running as it has in the past because we are focused on the Tier 1 child workers care. So right now we are not seeing much revenue, Jen.
Okay.
That's a good question. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Next discussion item from Brad will be Ricori Secondary Principal Hire Update.
Yeah, so the application process ended. We had 17 fully and on-timed completed applicants. We do have a 10-person team that's reviewing those applicants, of which we will choose 5 to interview. That should be completed tomorrow. Then I'll be sending out three questions to those top 5 applicants. in which they'll have to respond in a 1 page or less to each one of those 3 questions. That will come back in. The 10-person team will review those answers. And then as of right now, we have our on-site scheduled interviews for April 14th. Should we learn that stay at home will be longer than the April 14th date, we will have to make plans to do some type of potential hangout or a Teams type, depending on what the candidate's technology is, where we'll have to interview them in virtual mode. Because it's just too important to let this go. I mean, we can't wait till till we have. We just can't wait for it. Should we have to go past the April 10th stay-at-home order?
Brad,
Yeah, Jen.
as far as narrowing down from 17 applicants to 5 applicants, is this whole committee providing input on how we get to the 5?
Yes.
Or are you narrowing it down to the 5?
Nope. The whole committee is. So they and Shannon's a part of it. So what they were provided with was the input that we took from the community as far as from the stakeholders as far as what we wanted to see in the next leader. So they had to judge the applicants based off of those desired qualities, and then make their judgment on a 1 to 5 basis, and then we'll add that all up and choose the top 5 from those lists.
Okay.
Any other questions on that principal hire?
Sorry about
All
that.
right, that's okay. The next item on the discussion is the regular school board meetings update. So we had some recommendation from MSBA as far as like a motion to pass or to approve going forward. Because of the situation, we're probably going to be meeting like this at least through the 30th. But I'm just going to read what it says. I think the other thing that I had for question for people was typically we've had a work session for one of our 2 meetings, but I'm just wondering if we should just hold on that given the circumstances that we're in. It's hard to have that kind of discussion over this kind of technology. Are there other thoughts?
Were there any issues that were real important to be dealt with in a work session?
Well, there's always really important issues for the board to discuss, Lynn.
But something that needs to be, I know we're getting close to having to deal with budgets and that.
That it is that time of the year, Lynn, where these types of discussions need to happen. I guess we can evaluate how this goes tonight, and then we can, Jason and I can meet and talk about should we have the work session or not.
Yeah. And you can just, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I guess my feedback would be, you guys, the 2 of you, Brad and Jason, use your discretion on, what you need to bring forward. I would say, as a rule of thumb, we hold back. Work session discussions by nature are typically broader, less specific, more forward-thinking. I think right now we're kind of in a triage mode, and so I think that focusing on that right now and making sure Brad's energy and time is focused on that is good. And so I would say use your own discretion as far as what needs to be brought forward. Obviously, budget stuff will need to be come forward, but the format in which it comes forward, I trust you both to figure that out.
Any other feedback?
Okay, The motion that I have then is I move that due to current federal and state emergency declarations and guidance about limiting person-to-person contact due to the COVID-19 pandemic, by action of the School Board of Rocori, all future meetings of the Rocori School Board will be conducted in accordance with Minnesota Statutes 13D.021, meetings by telephone or other electronic means until further notice. One or more board members may participate by telephone or other electronic means. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by
This is Lynn.
Okay. All those, any further discussion? All those.
I have a question. So if we're able to, if the shelter in place is taken off, is there a way we could do it where we could be 10 feet apart in a bigger space? Because you said forever until,
Yeah, until further notice is what the recommendations are.
right, but I'm just saying, I guess I'm asking the group, if it's groups of 10 and we can put ourselves in a bigger space, I guess I would say we could maybe think about that. It's not, we might be able to get something done or actually have some work discussion items, especially if it moves into the end of April and the beginning of May and we need to start planning. Can we maybe just think about where we could do that?
Yeah, Shannon, I think with what MSBA said and what this motion would do is would allow those who don't feel comfortable to still be a part of a public meeting through this venue, but also would allow for those people to also be here if they wanted to. So nothing's prohibiting the public from actually coming to this meeting. It's just saying that what this motion does is allows us to continue to have this type of meeting. And if you wanted to be here, you could.
Right, but if we want to change it to more,
We
I
could
guess we
say
have to go
till the
through a
end
motion.
of April 30th, because that's technically the next thing by the federal government is 30th of April.
But the order to stay at home ends April 10th. So I think to Shannon's point, if it's possible for us to meet in a larger space, for those of us that are comfortable meeting in person, we could actually have a work session and have a productive conversation. I think it's hard to have that conversation with all of us in this remote type of venue.
So our next meeting is for April 13th.
Right. I guess I just wanted to ask the group before we made that motion, if we could sit in the commons or a place where we were definitely spread out, and again, obviously the next 2 weeks will tell us a lot, but where does everybody else sit on that? Or April 27th for that matter?
Yeah, because the second part just says one or more board members may participate by phone.
So it doesn't say we have to, it just allows somebody to. So even if we pass this motion that allows all board members to be in the same location for a meeting, it just says, this motion just says that we don't have to be if we're not comfortable.
Yeah, it says we can conduct, it just basically says that we're in a mode of we're going to conduct our meeting remotely. And once we tell them that we're not going to do that anymore, and it says one or more may participate, it doesn't say have to participate or are required to participate. So I think this still allows us to modify it if needed.
I guess that's all I'm asking is just that we, as the next 2 weeks go, we can, make a determination for the next meeting, which obviously at this point looks like it'll be this way, but I would still just want to make sure we have some flexibility to change if we wanted to.
Yeah, I think it's just setting up the stage for people to expect that we're going to do this, and then I think people would expect that when we can do it back together that we will do that, because it doesn't exclusively say that we have to do it that way.
Okay.
So So, any other discussion? All those in favor, Sunny,
Aye.
Shannon,
Aye.
Kara,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Lynn,
Aye.
Jason, aye. Motion for remote meetings as needed carries and approved. Okay, so we have some action items. Award bid for the high school parking lot.
Yeah, so in front of you is the recommendation to take on the bid from the Design Tree is recommending on Knife River, and that would be to have the base bid, alternate 1 and alternate 2 for the total of $1,036,000. Beth, did you have
Any-
anything? I'm sorry.
Any discussion, questions? I had mentioned to Brad, and I don't know if you found details about that, because I think our initial bid was, or the initial bond was 800,000, and I didn't know if it was an option to possibly take, another 200,000 for that, or if that would even be appropriate given the circumstances. Because that'll come off of some of the other long-term maintenance bonding monies.
Yep, Jason. Beth, did you want to jump in, or do you want me to answer that?
No, go ahead.
Hey, Beth.
Talk about that one. We wouldn't be able to just increase the bond that we already have. We'd have to go out for another one, which would mean incurring all of the bonding costs again. So that's not something we would want to do. You could possibly go out and do an abatement bond for some of our other parking lots, if those were a priority, but we've got HVAC items that we'll probably be using first before those. So this will cut into our other LTFM bond that we issued, but it's just a matter of prioritizing our other projects then, because we still do have the pay-as-we-go funds as well.
Okay. Any other questions? Motion to approve the high school parking lot bid for $1,036,000.
I'll make the motion.
All right, I thought I made the motion, but is there a second?
Oh, okay, I'll second it. This is Lynn.
Second by Lynn. All those in favor, please say aye. Sunny,
Aye.
Shannon,
Aye.
Kara,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Lynn,
Aye.
Jason, aye. Okay, so the parking lot improvement has been approved. The next action item is approval of payment to Cold Spring Bakery. I'll make a motion to approve Cold Spring Bakery check number 103685 in the amount of $30.
Second, this is Jennifer.
Second by Jennifer. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Sunny,
Aye.
Shannon,
Aye.
Kara,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Lynn,
I abstain.
Jason, aye. Okay, the payment to Cold Spring Bakery is approved. Administrative and board report, superintendent report from Brad.
Yeah, so I have two reports. One is I wanted to report on the strategic plan. As you know, we just couldn't host the meetings last week because it just would have brought too many people onto our campus. So I've been in contact with Bruce Miles. We're kind of in a holding pattern. He's done all the work to get the information back from our students, our community, and our staff. And so we'll just have to wait. And as soon as we can get that, we already have the plan in place on how to feed the people. We'll just have to communicate the new date with them. I think it's still really important that we have face-to-face with them, and we'll do that when we can. The other report I had was our legislature. So our legislature has stopped all business until after April 14th or till April 14th, and they will only meet if it's urgent, and it's going to be around COVID-19. I can tell you that with the last bill that was passed on March 26th of $330 million to respond to COVID, that's going to pretty much take up most of the funding that may have been there for schools in the upcoming year. As you know, the biennial budget's already been passed, and so any other wishes that we would have had at this time was just that, a wish. And so I think our associations will now try to focus on making sure we're ready for the fall, and I don't think there's going to be any type of funding increases at this point. So just for you to know that. Any
other
questions?
questions for Brad? Okay. Committee reports. Jennifer?
None of my committees have met since our last board meeting on the 9th.
Kara?
The Stearns Family Collaborative met since I last reported, and there was a good discussion on behavior remediation for elementary age kids in a instead of a reactive approach, like a proactive approach. And I don't know, it was interesting. And the rest of my committees have not met. We had a discussion for some facilities and grounds at last board meeting, just for the public's awareness. Just not holding those meetings unless it was urgent and necessary. So that's it.
Bunny?
None of my committees have met.
Shannon?
None of mine have met. I do have a question, Brad, on the facilities meeting. Are we going to plan on doing something like this? I mean, I thought we had one scheduled third week in April, maybe?
We have it.
Or does anybody know what that date is?
Let's see.
We were waiting for somebody to respond back from the gas company on the doodle poll. So once we get that, we'll know.
Okay.
And then it'll have to be something virtual, I would guess, just depending on what happens after April 10th.
Okay.
Brad, will we be doing the April 1st meeting that's scheduled, I think, 5:30 on April 1st? Will we be doing that virtually?
At this point, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Who's next on the, where are we? Lynn?
None of my committees have met.
Okay. And then I had Benton Stearns had a virtual meeting last week, Wednesday. We talked a little bit about the expansion of the Setting 4 facility. There's still lots of discussion that has to happen. The tentative discussion was to try and lease some of Sartell's old middle school space out. Nothing definitive has been decided. They're just comparing prices and seeing what the market is like and figuring out if this is the best option or what other options there are. They did a workload analysis of other districts to just compare where we were at, and it sounded like we were pretty right in the middle of our workload analysis. The MD monitoring was postponed, and then we had due process. They had 47 people at the Sartell due process with 5 districts represented there, and then we had 17 staff at the Rocori due process night, and there are 3 districts. So that's been a really good thing that we have started and have gotten consistent attendance. So I'm really pleased and happy that we're getting people to go to that from more than just Rocori. So, and that was it. Budget comparison report.
Beth, did you have anything there to add?
Nope, just the standard report.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, and then we have upcoming events and activities. I think, yeah, and if there's any of the meetings happening, it would definitely be remote, so we'll have to be in touch with Brad about that, or postponed, one or the other. So just make sure you're talking to the reps and figuring out what the plan is, but, and they didn't have the, building and grounds decided on that calendar yet. Any questions on that? Okay, if there's no other questions, the meeting is adjourned.
Good night, guys. Thanks for all your work.
Bye.
Good night, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.